So free and too easy, giving it away. It's not cheap, but here I am giving it away. Don't be my last strange encounter. Welcome to Nerds Gone Rogue. My name is Matthew Keel. This is episode 166. Alongside me are a couple friends. Repping Pizza Planet himself, Corey Gehrig. How are you, sir?
I am all right.
I know you're going to be distracted with the Browns game going on.
They're losing, so.
Well.
That's fine.
Order is restored.
Sure. We'll go with that.
That other voice, Moose. How are you, sir?
Doing well, man.
You're looking less like Brian every week.
I just didn't shave this weekend. I had to shave.
He's like a Pokemon. He's evolving. He's gaining that experience through his stash, his beard.
Yeah.
Moose Mound. No.
So you can find us.
I didn't even hear what you say.
I said Moose Mound.
Moosimon.
Pokemoose.
There we go.
It's better.
I
Yeah.
like to poke a moose around. No, I'm kidding. This is Nerds Gone Rogue. You can find everything we do at nerdsgonerogue.com. Hit us up on Twitter at Nerds Gone Rogue. Hit us up on Insta at nerdsgonerogue_official. I am at infinite_rewind everywhere. Moose is at Sven. That's SVHENN everywhere. And Corey is at Corey in HD 713 on Twitter. Corey in HD everywhere else except PlayStation, where he is still Rogue Spartan 4.
That's me.
We're giving away a game. We're giving away the next Call of Duty. It comes out October 25th. We will be giving it out the Monday prior, so people can preload and get that downloaded. Get ready to do team deathmatch and spec ops missions, and if do people still play the campaign? I don't even know.
Some people.
What you need to do is you need to subscribe to us on a podcast service or on YouTube, and then you need to. That's one, and each of those are one entry. Screenshot your subscription to whichever one. Send that to nerdsgoneroguepodcast@gmail.com. Now, if you want an additional entry, you can get a total of 3. So screenshot your YouTube subscription, podcast service subscription, and review us on the podcast service you subscribe to us on, and that gives you up to 3 entries. So you are 3 times more likely to win. I think that's how statistics work. Not positive though.
Could be.
I know X-ray. That's really it.
Math is hard.
So yeah, we'll be announcing that it comes out the 25th, so we will be announcing it the 21st, if my math is correct, and we will announce that live on the show. If you're not participating live, we will send you an email with your code, as long as you've told us which platform you choose to play Call of Duty on. Now, before we get to game time, how was everybody's weekend?
It's pretty good.
It was full of doing stuff.
Cool.
You know? Stuff.
Well, since you did stuff, what stuff did you do?
Well, we went to a festival on Saturday with the child.
Cool.
And,
the first work tour. Nice.
Yep. Yeah. Lincoln Park. They're still there, right? No? Oh, wait. Never mind.
I don't know.
Ooh. Too soon? Anyways.
Hey, you know what? The Who's still touring, and they only had 2 of the original members.
That's fair. That's fair. We went to a festival, and we got homemade donuts, which were tasty.
Nice.
Let's see. What else did we do? Oh, we went to my wife's mom's house for a dinner for Rosh Hashanah. Yes, my wife would be very proud of me for getting that right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
look at you pretending to be Jewish. It's kind of adorable.
I mean, I'm not pretending. I'm not, but my wife is. So
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't think that's pretending.
I'm just like Rosh Hashanah.
He's just trying to make sure he doesn't look like an ass talking about his
That.
wife's celebrations.
exactly what Moose said. So
You
you know, I do my best.
but it's understandable.
Yeah. Yep. And then that was about it. That was it. So that was my weekend.
Cool.
Yeah. Eventful.
Moose, what sort of shenanigans did you do this weekend?
Went to the firing range with the parents and the wife
Cool.
Saturday.
I'm afraid to go to the firing range with my parents because I'm pretty sure one of them would shoot me.
Well, that's not good.
I know.
Excuse me. Anyways, did
This
that.
is why I opt not to shoot.
And then yesterday went up to see Kelly's dad, the father-in-law. So we went and spent the day with him, and that was fun. And then came home and I made beer chili.
Nice. Yeah, I saw
That was
pictures.
good.
That
Beer
looked good.
chili. What is beer chili?
You put beer. Just make any
it's
chili.
exactly
and
what
put
it
beer in
sounds like. You just
Yeah.
okay.
Put beer in it. Just put a 12-ounce beer in. Yep.
Just one.
Yeah, unless you're double batching it. I made a double batch, but I didn't. I actually wanted to drink my beer, so I didn't want to sacrifice more than like a 16 ounce. So I only put like a pint in instead of like 24 ounces. So
There
I
is
put
a thing called a grocery store that you could go buy more.
I know, but I was already home from the grocery store.
And he started making the chili after.
When I was making the chili, I already bought 2 4-packs for us to enjoy. So that's 4 beers each.
That's fair.
And I was just like, I don't like it. I didn't want it. I didn't want the beer to like overwhelm the taste of the chili, which it didn't. So I was kind of glad I only put 16 ounces in. But anyways, so I did that, and then just played vidgy games.
Cool.
So it was
Nice.
good.
I made waffles again.
I
Saw
saw
your
that.
post.
I
Saw
do.
that.
I do like making waffles. I think that's become like a thing for me.
Nice.
But see, I have a feeling that if I say I'll make waffles again, Reeb's gonna be like, "Stop making waffles."
Now what you need to do.
I need to tell. Well, I talked to her about what you were saying, and I'm like, that sounds pretty good. But then
And that's pretty easy and not as messy, and you can just
true. But
you can just throw it in, be like, "Honey, I'm gonna make some cinnamon rolls in the
But
waffle
then, like,
maker."
she made like a valid point because she's like, at that point, you're not making waffles; you're just making cinnamon buns shaped like waffles.
Well, that
And
sounds
I'm like-
amazing.
And I'm like, I feel like there's no problem here, but also,
I was just gonna say,
but
what is your
also-
problem?
What's
Chris?
the problem?
But then the gears started turning. Like, okay, well, how can I make cinnamon buns but waffles? And then I did a brief couple of searches, and I'm like, this is already becoming too much. I'm getting too deep. I'm not even good at making normal waffles yet, so let me get good at that, and then I'll try and.
Well, you could always mix it up and just do like scrambled eggs with some cheese and some bacon. You know, and make like a breakfast mashup for her instead of just always waffles. Work the waffles in so it becomes like every other weekend or like once a month. Because I know you're excited because you're like, holy cow, I can make waffles, and she's like. She's probably already sitting there going, shit, this is going to be every day. This is going to become a one-trick pony, and you don't want that to happen.
No, I don't think I have that. I don't think I have that kind of focus for it to become a one-trick pony sort of situation. But what was I going to say? No, well, I keep getting more and more waffles out of the recipe because the recipes calls for 5. The first time I made it, I got 6. This time I got 7 1/4 out of it. So I'm like, okay, and we're not eating that many waffles because
Why not?
Because we're terrible people, Corey. No,
why don't you just half the recipe?
See, I thought about doing that, but I'm afraid.
Are you afraid? Are you gonna be like you're gonna come up with like 1 What are we gonna do here, babe?
Well, just all of a sudden, like what I come out with, it just doesn't. It doesn't look, taste, or feel like waffles anymore. Like, how did I do this? All I did was cut everything in half. And I know sometimes in cooking, the math doesn't always work out to just straight math.
To cut half, yeah. No, I understand what you're getting.
So I'm like, all right, I'll probably have to think about that eventually. But meanwhile, we just freeze them and eat them later, which is. I haven't had any of them frozen, but Reba has, and she says they're really good with peanut butter. So, so I'll take that.
Interesting.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you could eat them, like, put them in the fridge and pop them in the mic for like 30 seconds. Like you said, throw some peanut butter on them, and they're good. And bananas.
Yeah. No, other than that, I was super tired all weekend. I don't know what it was, but I slept all Saturday. Woke up for a couple hours and then slept till Sunday morning. And then we decided to watch the first couple episodes of Twin Peaks. And that was fun.
Was it?
For me. Like, I'm not even going to bother going into my Twin Peaks thing because I know that neither of you, if you've seen it, you probably don't like it. And if you haven't seen it, there's no way you're going to like it if you did. So
I'm going to go out on a limb.
Judgmental like that. Like, what? Why you got to be a bitch like that?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm not going to enjoy Twin Peaks.
I mean,
I'll go out on a limb and say you don't enjoy anything. But
that's fair. You know, that's a fair assessment. I'm gonna throw that out there. You're not wrong.
I mean, in all honesty, Matt, like, why you gotta be like, well, if you haven't watched it, you don't like it, or what? Like,
no. Well, see, because here's the thing: based on your reaction, Moose, because I said that was fun, and you're like, was it? And
no, I was talking about the person you were watching it with, asshole. Not like watching.
Okay. All right, so then I misinterpreted your.
Yes, you did.
My bad. It was fun for me. It wasn't so fun for her because she's like, this show seems to throw a lot at you, but it throws it at you so slowly. And I'm like, yeah, that's about right. And then it goes to just some really, like, over the course of 2 seasons, and I haven't watched the new one that came out a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But over the course of the first 2 seasons, it just goes some places. And watching it again just really, really made me just enjoy it. Because I remember even as a kid, like when it came on, I didn't watch like the full series when it was actually on TV because I wasn't aware of TV like that. Mm-hmm. But the episodes I watched, I couldn't look away from. Like, I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but these people are weird. and yeah, so I'm probably going to rewatch that series again because I love it. And that also kind of made me want to play Deadly Premonition again, and then it just goes a whole way. But we also watched the first couple episodes of an old British show called Blackadder. If you know who Mr. Bean is, it's what he did before Mr. Bean, and it's 4 seasons worth of like different period dramas. Like the first season is set in England and in the era of the Tudors, and then they change eras, but it's the same characters. The 4th season is actually probably one of the best seasons of TV I've ever seen. It has it's World War One, and Hugh Laurie, better known as House.
Love that show.
He's hilarious in Blackadder.
House is amazing.
Yeah, it was for about 4 seasons, and then it took a dive. Other than that, didn't do a whole lot. Played a few games, but I was happy to get as much sleep as I did because I feel like I needed it.
Well, that's good. You were able to recharge your battery.
I hope so. We'll find out tonight at work. So let's go to game time.
Game time.
What you guys been playing?
Well, I only played games one night this week, but trying to get through Gears 5. Jesse and I did this thing where we decided to play on hard difficulty the first time through.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, it's hard. It's hard.
Goods as advertised.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
Actually, we were stuck on this boss last night or Saturday night for like I don't know, probably like 40 minutes, and we were like, why can't we beat this boss? And it's at the end of the second act, and so we were fighting this boss and we got the mechanics down, but like it does the Dead Space 3 thing where like one player experiences like a normal boss fight, and then whoever's playing as Kate, who is like the main protagonist of the game, she has hallucinations during the boss fight where like you can't really do anything, and like it's incredibly difficult because you're still in the world wandering around the boss. And like there's this really cool mechanic where when you're fighting the boss, you have to shoot the ice below its feet so it falls in the ice, and then it freezes the boss, and then you have to like go around the boss and shoot it in the back, right? So that's what we were doing. But you can also fall into the ice, and you can when the boss shakes the ice off, it either charges you or jumps towards you. And like when Kate is in a hallucination, you can't like dodge. You can't really do anything except like walk around. And so like sometimes the ice, like the other player will shoot the ice underneath Kate and or shoot the ice, and Kate can't see the ice breaking, so you'll just walk into it. And it was incredibly like kind of infuriating for a little bit, especially because like we would get to the last phase of the boss, and then the last phase the boss takes the spikes out of its back and just chucks like 10 of them, and you have to dodge out of the way. But
that's crazy.
That's some amygdala shit right there.
Yeah, but there's like ice pillars throughout the level that you hide behind, but the items that the boss throws, or when the boss charges, like can break the ice. So you have to be careful not to lead the boss into the ice pillars before like the end phase, or else you won't have anything to hide behind. And we were like, what is happening? Why can we not fight this boss? Well, there's a chamber in the back of the room where there's a cryo freezing like turret where it just shoots like ice out to freeze the boss. So what you're supposed to do is take the cryo gun and freeze the boss when the boss is running over the ice. And like we didn't know this gun was there, so we were trying to do it all manually, like shoot the ice out, but the boss is too fast to like shoot it out in time. And like we were stuck for 45 minutes until we realized that that's what we were supposed to do.
Jeez.
But it was still incredibly difficult because we decided to play on hard. So but Gears is oddly reminding me a little bit of God of War, and really makes me want to go back and play God of War. And like I know we have a question about it later, but there's a lot of games, especially like exclusive games, that I want to go back and play that either I haven't finished or haven't played in a while. So on both Xbox and PlayStation. So I think I am going to try to do that at some point this week. But Gears 5 is super fun. I like it's weird because like every time you go to a new area or a new kind of like a new climate or whatever, like they actually have different character models per, like when you're in the ice area, like your characters will have fur coats and long sleeves. We just got to the desert area, and there's like armor that like has no sleeves, and it looks like a cooler set of armor. It's cool. It's really cool. They put a lot of work into this game that hasn't historically had that much thought or work put into it, you know. It's cool. And like even the characters have like different haircuts because it takes place throughout like a year. Like as you move through the game, it takes place in different, you know, times of the year, and their hairstyles are different, their clothes are different. It's cool. I'm really, really digging it. But I have to I told Jesse I wouldn't play without him, and it's becoming incredibly difficult not to play without him because I want to play through it and see what's happening, because I'm actually thoroughly interested in what's happening in the story.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always like paid attention to the story, but it's Gears, right? You just like, okay, it's a shooter story, whatever. Like there's some moments in the franchise that are like, oh man, that's interesting, but nothing that's like they're actually really trying to tell a real story this time. And it's really cool. And I think changing the perspective of the game, instead of playing as like Marcus or JD, which are the protagonists of the other games, like, well, JD is 4 and Marcus is 1 through 3. Like changing it to Kate really adds a different perspective to the game, and like what she's going through is pretty cool. It's really, I don't really want to spoil it because I think the story is actually worth looking into and playing if you have an Xbox or a PC, but it's cool. I'm really, really digging Gears. It's the game Xbox One needed 3 or 4 years ago, I think. So,
okay.
But yeah, that's
anything else or no?
No, that's all I really played this week. I didn't really have a lot of time to play games, and between working and just I've been trying to go to bed early this week because I've just been really tired the last couple weeks, and so.
It catches up with you, bro.
I know. So, but that's all I've been playing.
Cool.
Moose?
Borderlands.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to 50.
Okay.
So now I just have
you finished the story, right?
Yeah, a while ago. So
I think you said you were going to finish it after the last show. Is that right?
Yeah, and I did finish it after the last show.
Okay.
I went back to the PS4, went in, beat the game, watched the cutscene, and then just went to bed.
Now, is the last boss, like I know everyone knows who the two antagonists are. Is it them or is it another like vault thing?
I don't know if I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
Okay. Well, is it them or is it a vault thing? Is it just you don't have to really go into it?
It's the former.
Okay.
To an extent.
All
and
right.
then so you got that going on, and then some things happen, and I thought it was a pretty satisfying ending to the story.
Mm-hmm.
I can agree with the fact that like they're more annoying than anything, so they make you hate them. Whereas in like Jack, you hate him because he's a dick, but you also like him because he's funny. They're just straight up annoying, and so it's like you just like hate them. But anyways, I just like I'm having fun with mayhem mode, which is pretty cool. I started farming like the first legendary hunt that you could do, because there was a video where like, hey, here's a good spot to farm iridium, and it's the first legendary hunt in Pandora, and so you can go and just farm that over and over again, and it's pretty entertaining. So and then to like getting to 50, I was tagging along with Jason. He was farming was it the Grave Lord? So he was farming him and on Mayhem 3. So like me and Jeff were like hanging out with him doing that, getting some epics, legendary weapons. And then I went back to farming the first legendary on Pandora, and that's when I hit 50. Because like I did it sometime yesterday, I think, or maybe the day before. And then I just got to a point where like I started doing the whole finding all the locations on the planets, which is pretty easy because it's trackable. Like if you go to your map and you hit L3, you can like see all your locations. Finding the Typhon logs, got to find all those. Got to do the Zero hunt. Well, you got to do the legendary hunts for Hammerlock, and then you got to do the targets for Zero. And then you have to find like all the name locations, like I was saying, but a lot of it's trackable. And so I've been doing that and just going planet by planet. And the first all locations one I got was for Eden 6. And for those who don't know, if you play Borderlands, it's Jacob's planet, the gun manufacturer Jacobs, which they did a great job of making it very similar to Jacob's Cove from the Zombie Island of Dr. Ned. So that was awesome. I was like, wow, I was like, this looks a lot like that DLC. And I'm like, that's really cool that they did that. Anyways, played that. I jumped back into Borderlands to Bloodborne because
there's a community event
Saturday. Right? Yeah, Saturday the Return to Yharnam thing started. So it's the 5th to the 5th. So the 5th of October to the 5th of November, it's the Return to Yharnam event where you just hop on, just start running around, invade, summon people, ring your bell so you can be summoned to help people and just go have a good time. So I did that, and excuse me. I did that and was helping a lot of people with Father G and the cleric beast. So I think now I'm going to move on to like the Cathedral Ward and maybe which is a Hemwick Journal Lane. The bell doesn't seem to like connect as easily with those as it does with the very beginning area. So
yeah, well, I think that's indicative to like people really like that game until they have to fight a boss and they don't like it anymore.
Yeah. Or like people are like, I'll start a character for people to help me get past Father G, and then they're like, I'll just go help other people. Yeah. You know? So, anyways, been doing that, and then Hotline Miami. I do need to bring that up. I've been playing that on the Switch, which has been really good. I'm about caught up with where I am on my PlayStation 4 playthrough. Okay. And so I'm really looking forward to beating that game and starting Hotline Miami 2 and hopefully beating that game. So that'll be awesome. But other than that, it's been kind of like Borderlands. It's been Borderlands and Bloodborne. I mean, I downloaded MLB The Show because it's free, and I don't think I got 19. I didn't get last year's. I got the year before, so I got 18 maybe, or maybe I got 2017. I bought one of them one year because I was just like, man, I haven't played a baseball game in like forever, and I don't think I bought it full price. I bought it on sale. So that was the good thing because I played a little bit of it and I was having fun with it. But I think now that it's free, I think like maybe it'd be cool to get some people together and maybe do like a season or a franchise, with some people, and because that game is just like crazy how consistently good it is for the turnaround that they have. Like there's like that game is like far superior to anything Madden will put out. True. As far as like gameplay, and I mean, you just look at the reviews; they're always like 9s. Like you might get an 8 here or there, but it's more 9s than it is 8s. And then some people give it 10s, whereas in like Madden's like 8s, some 7s, and maybe a 9 here or there. And so, plus I just feel like I don't know. Not that baseball as a game in real life is easy, or even MLB The Show is easy. I just enjoy it more than Madden. I guess maybe because it's something different,
Well, like I don't, and like they actually make sure the game works before they ship it.
Yeah, I mean that's a valid point.
I'm not saying that to rip on Madden because I love Madden, but I haven't bought Madden in like 4 years because like 2016 really left a sour taste in my mouth, and like I played 19 and it's just like it was even worse. It was like the input lag on like, because like when I play Madden, I like to play online, right? That's the mode I like to play the most. But like when you're sitting there playing online and you can't even control the players because the input lag is so bad.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that.
Yeah, and you have to like guess where the player is going to be because like, you have to hit the button. You have to hit a button like probably a second before you need to, and you have to just guess, and it's terrible. It's just bad. And like, I commend Sony for putting out a working, functioning game every year because like. I know some people say this, but like I agree with it that sports developers have the hardest job in all of video game development because they have 9 months to put out a game and then they have like 3 months of follow-up time and updates and stuff during the season, right? And so like I commend Sony for putting out a functioning working game with minimal. Yeah, I think there are some, but like minimal microtransactions, minimal hiccups, minimal, lack of features and functions and stuff, because like, I mean, NBA 2K does it every year also, but that game is like littered with crazy microtransactions and insane, like, street ball stuff and everything. And like,
and that game also hit a peak and it's been on a downslide since.
Yeah.
Like, what
I think
13 or 14 was like a solid peak for that series, and they've not come close since.
Yeah. So
I mean, I haven't played them. I'm just
yeah, no. I hear what you're saying, and like I think 16 was the highest selling NBA 2K game, but that's because PlayStation and Xbox both put it on their free games program thing right when the NBA Finals was starting. So like, I mean, highest downloaded game, but like, how many of those were because of that? So
yeah, exactly.
But like, yeah, I think Sony is really killing it with MLB The Show, because that game is a solid product every year. Even though I don't care about baseball that much, I do recognize it's like, you recognize good games even if you're not into that, and MLB is definitely one of them.
Well, and they're not like Santa Monica is. It's not like anybody else can't put out an MLB game, right?
I think for a while there was because the MLB was having weird issues with EA's baseball game, so they made this really weird contract to where first party studios could make baseball games, and then like they made an exclusive agreement with 2K to make their baseball game, but Xbox didn't make their baseball game. Nintendo doesn't. Whatever.
Rusty, real deal baseball.
And basically, MLB 2K was like, they were getting slaughtered by the show, so they just stopped making them. I don't know if that contract still exists, but I remember that specifically existing to stop EA from making a baseball game.
Well, I'm only asking because I know that EA has exclusive rights to the NFL.
Yeah, and I think NHL also.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And I think there's some kind of weird halfway exclusive with FIFA.
No, it's for FIFA. It was Pro Evolution had the Champions League, which I don't think they do anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that big into soccer,
Getting into soccer and tournament rights and things like that is going to be a whole long conversation, and I'd have to actually do some research to really get my shit together on it. But I think it's funny that there are other studios could make a Major League Baseball game, but just choose.
Nobody does.
Well, I mean, the show is it's the same reason why like nobody else makes a basketball game except EA tries, but who's buying NBA Live? Like, I mean, that's the same reason why everybody's avoiding basketball, because 2K just makes a killer product, regardless of what you think of their microtransactions. But
yeah. Well, I mean, NHL 2K was really good until EA got exclusivity to the NHL.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sports.
So.
Well, I like sports games. I really do. And if I didn't care about the medium as much as I do, I'd probably only play them. Because before I really did, all I played was FIFA. I'm like, I loved coming home and either going online or playing an offline tournament.
I mean, FIFA. Yeah, for a long time, for me, it was like Madden and Halo. Like, those were the only games I played for a long time. And then I got into Destiny, and that was the only game I played for a while, right? And like, yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Moose, anything else other than MLB?
What? Oh no, I haven't been playing. I downloaded it. I want to play it, so I need to get into it. That's why I was just saying I downloaded it. Yeah, but that's it. Like, just trying to whittle away at stuff on the Switch. So
it's busy. It's busy adult people,
Yeah. Like I I went back through and I'm like, man, I was like, I got Mario Odyssey to beat. I've got Octopath Traveler. I've got Link's Awakening, Super Mario Maker 2. I've got like a bunch of games where I'm just like, and I need to just get in there, and that's all I should play. So it's like, what it really is like jumping back and forth for a little bit to see what really grabs me. And so I think I'm really gonna jump to Link's Awakening and then like play it to the best of my ability. And then if I need a guide, like even if I get stuck for a little bit, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I
mean, I played for 7 hours and I'm only on the 3rd dungeon because I have no idea where to go or what I'm doing.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like I'm gonna be like, you know what? Like I'd love to figure it out on my own, but I have so much to play. Yeah. I need to like move on. You know,
I've also heard that Link's Awakening suffers from being
a Game Boy game.
No, a '90s game because a lot of the time back then, like I think it was a Last Live podcast that Kenny Hall said, like it was game design. It was a game design before there was really game design, because there's some of the puzzles in there that are just.
Well, sometimes
obscure as fuck.
Sometimes some of the puzzles is like you need a key to get into the next room, and like the puzzle is to kill all the enemies in one room, and like it took me a really long time to figure that out because I just like in Zelda games I just like, oh, there's enemies in this dungeon, I'll just walk by them and run around them, you know, and like no, the one key I needed, I had to go to this one specific hallway and kill all the enemies in the room, and it dropped a key. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that happened.
But anyways, yeah, so like Link's Awakening, Mario Odyssey, which is a lot of fun. But so that one Astral Chain, Jesus Christ. Too much. So you know what comes out tonight, right?
What, me?
Concrete Genie comes out tonight.
Yeah, Concrete Genie comes out. Valfaris comes out tonight.
and then like within 2 weeks, Outer Worlds comes out.
God.
And then like 2 weeks after that, it's Death Stranding. And then somewhere down the line is Doom. It's just like, it's fucking unending.
It's crazy because like I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately, and like everybody's talking about The Last of Us, and like half of me is just like, I should really go back and just finish that first game and like really try to play that first game.
Put it on easy and just
and it's like I'm like not that interested in playing it, but like people talking about it again and like really, you know, deep diving on certain podcasts. Like I listened to a podcast that would deep dove on it for like 3 hours the other day, and I'm like, I should just really go back and play it. I should just suck it up and play it, you know, and I've had that feeling with a lot of games lately, actually. So I don't know.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, I have so many games that I have not finished or even touched. Mm-hmm. And like, we've been podcasting for so long that I just keep feeling like, should I play something that's like newer? Should I play something different so I'm not talking about the same thing every week? And then like,
dude, play what you want, man.
Well, like I have that thought, and then I'm just like, I'm just not gonna play anything. I'm just gonna watch something on YouTube or Netflix and fall asleep. Like that's how it goes. And I'm like, I should really do something, you know. And it's just.
Well, I don't. Earlier this week I posted like, because it was, I think it was like October 4th when I put this up. I'm like, so it's about that time where we have to start thinking about game of the year.
I know, I saw that post and I didn't even reply to it. I saw it and I just like, I'm just going to scroll past this because I can't even think about this right now.
And I stressed myself out. And then like, God bless Ed. But he's like, we have till like the second week of December. I'm like, if you haven't started making a plan now, you are already too late. Mm-hmm. And he's like, but I have so much to play before I plan. I go, my point. Like, you haven't started yet.
Man.
I mean, you know, and I took a page out of Patrick Klepek. He's at Waypoint now, but when he said this, he was at Giant Bomb. He said that like he writes down the games he plays, and or at least he writes down the games he plays, the games he beats, and I've been doing that for the past like 3 years, and that's been a big help. And I've gone back and started looking at what I've played this year, and I'm like, Holy crap!
I started.
I've played enough that I don't remember a lot of what I've played.
I have the Game Informer 2019 release date calendar just bookmarked on my desktop because I'm like, I'm gonna need that really soon when I start talking about games. And I'm looking at I look at the list of games. I'm like, I did play that this year. That was this year. I played that this year. And then I'm like, oh, for the first half of the year, I just played 75 hours of Assassin's Creed Odyssey and only got 1/3 of the way through the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then I get to like May and June. I'm like, oh, geez, games came out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
And it's like my year didn't even start until Fire Emblem came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I looked at it. I'm like surprised at how well I've kept up, and still surprised at how much I've missed.
And like apparently last weekend during a flash sale, Control was 30% off, and I didn't know it, and I've been waiting for that game to go on sale, and I missed it.
I mean, Black Friday will probably be your next shot at that.
It'll probably be like 40%
usually
Black Friday.
It's weird because like third-party games, when they go on sale on PlayStation Network, usually like within 2 or 3 weeks it'll be on sale on Xbox.
Okay.
Which, from like, not like saying I'm an Xbox fanboy, but from everything I've heard, it runs way better on the Xbox One X than it does on the PS4 Pro.
True.
Which is where I will probably play it.
And that's fair. That's fair. I mean, you have both. Make your choice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go into what I played because I didn't play a whole lot. I played Daemon X Machina on Switch at work. Getting really close to the end game on that, and
how are you liking it?
I love that game, man. But also like
it's got. I think that game is aimed at a very specific audience.
It's got some problems
because like the people who love it like absolutely love it, but then like you read reviews of people who like aren't into mech games or just kind of like don't really understand the game or giving it kind of bad reviews. I'm like, well, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I can tell this game isn't for me. Well, first I played that first demo and I did not care for it, but like I can see that people who enjoy these types of games are really going to love this game. And like you love it, Ed loves it. Like people who like those old school kind of like customizable mech games are really loving it. And I'm glad that game has found an audience.
Yeah,
because I'm not gonna lie, I was really worried about that game, especially when Astral Chain took off, and coming out so close to Fire Emblem and Astral Chain, and Luigi's Mansion and Dragon Quest right after. Like,
I mean, I'll be honest, like this is it's really 100% coincidental that I love this game. I mean, and maybe it's not, but like when the first trailer was shown, I don't remember where it was shown, but I think it was one of the conferences. I was either just getting back into or had gotten through a couple of series of Gundam, and that was something that I'd never really watched growing up. But I'm like, I've never really watched this. And watching that just sort of made me realize why I liked that stuff all over again. Because I remember as a kid, I watched like Robotech, and I did like Voltron as a kid. I was like, man, giant robots are cool. And then I saw that trailer. I'm like, I'm gonna play that game. And then I looked at Gundam games and things that were available on PS3, PS4, and I'd always seen mixed to bad reviews for them. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait for this one. And then reading Austin Walker's Waypoint review, a lot of what he says in that is kind of the reasons I'm liking it, even though he makes a whole metric ton of references to Armored Core, a series I've never played. But this is like, it's very anime. It's very saturated colors. It's a beautiful looking game. I think the cutscenes are really good. I think the combat is really fun, but also I sort of recognize what the combat is, and I think, like, I remember a while back we were having a conversation about Spider-Man, and you were saying like, I hated walking in that game, and I was kind of like, why are you walking? You're Spider-Man. and we went back and forth there, but I think the difference is like this purposefully doesn't feel good because you are a person in a giant, bulky, semi-unwieldy machine. And I think all of that comes through really, really well. And I like seeing and feeling the changes I make to upgrading, like mobility or weapons or learning more moves in a fight per se. There's a lot there that actually becomes very overwhelming, but this is one of those few times where I just sort of, I'm like, that's a lot of information being thrown at me. What do I need to just go and fight stuff? Like, that's really how I look at this game. I think the story is it's convoluted to the point where like everybody seems to hate my character, but it's almost like they hate my character because they are in awe of my character, and that's something I don't really understand because I feel like I've been through the same fights that everyone else has been, but everyone's like, oh, the rookie is, wow, I'm so excited to be fighting alongside the rookie. I'm like, I haven't really done anything all that spectacular yet. I'm like, I don't know why you're heaping all this praise on me.
I remember that from the demo.
Yeah, and I'm like,
what the hell's going on?
I'm like, when did I become the golden child?
Yeah.
But also because early on, I mean, even in the prologue that came out just before release, like everyone's so happy to see you, but then you see these three mechs come and tear a colossal immortal apart in like 20 seconds. I'm like, everyone's worried about me, but no one asks about them. Like these three that just came and tore this, continent-sized robot to shreds. Oh, but I'm the one you're all worried about. Okay, I don't get any of this. But also, I guess there's some references to Evangelion and Mobile Suit Gundam back in the day with Amuro Rai and Shara's Noble and whatever. But I really like the game, but I also I've sort of chosen my experience with it. I'm not going to absorb every aspect of it. I'm sort of in combat. I sort of look to see what I would like to upgrade, and I pull those parts from things I defeat more than anything else. There is one thing that is truly consistent among all video games. Escort missions are garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to do a couple in this game, and they suck.
They suck real bad.
They're terrible. Mm-hmm. And I'm a giant robot in a team of 3 other giant robots that has to escort this weak ass train for a distance I don't know how far. But within about 3 minutes into this mission, like you're done taking care of like all the little things that have come after the train thus far. But then 3 mechs show up that are basically your cohorts, and then you find out that like there's some other like corporation faction that is putting them against you guys, and so now like the intrigue starts, and it's like who's putting us against one another, and then then it just becomes these guys don't want to fight you, they just want to destroy the train, and because the train is significantly inferior to the 6 giant robots on the field, it's kind of done. So I like that's like the wall I've hit. I can't really figure that part out. I can't figure out how to keep them off that train long enough for it to get where it's going, and it almost seems like they like shrug off any attacks I come at them with, and it's annoying. But I'm supposed to be the chosen one here, so I don't get it. I don't get it. But no, so instead of doing that mission, I've chosen to do like some other optional stuff, and the combat in that game is still fun despite that particular thing. I think I'm just going to plow my way through it eventually. And then I'll probably trade the game in and get Link's Awakening because I've not played that yet. But I do like Daemon X Machina for the parts I've chosen to experience of it. The rest of my week has been basically Remnant from the Ashes. Jason and I figured out that there were a bunch of things we actually hadn't acquired in the game yet, and we're like, we can get that stuff really easily. So we just decided to go after it. And I'm one trait away from having all of them, and that's just an RNG sort of keep going through Earth until I come across this one specific thing. And then we got a lot of the alternate weapons that we didn't have. And then there was this one for one of a late game boss I'm not really going to go into. But we figured out that there's a thing you have to do before you go into the boss fight, and that changes what the drop is. So we're like, okay. And then, but as we re-rolled the final section of the game, so it's the planet Yasha. As we re-rolled that, we're like, we keep storming through this pretty quickly. Let's go on Nightmare. Well, this boss on Nightmare 100% sucks. And it is like, it's kind of a nightmare. We've been trying this guy for at least 3 days, and we've made little to no progress. And we've gotten to the point where like, what is it? Why are we like? We were able to brute force our way through every other boss fight, with some snags here and there. But with this particular one, it's like we walk in and it's just over. And we're trying to figure that out. We don't really know why yet. But we'll keep plugging because we're not exactly two that like to give up very much. So yeah. I was gonna play more Control this week, but I did not because I pre-ordered the Death Stranding PS4 Pro.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna wait for that to come, and then I will finish Control.
Nice.
And
that is a pretty looking system.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish it didn't say like Death Stranding across the front of it.
Yeah, I wish it was just the handprints like that. I think that's cool art.
Or like I wish, like the front of it though is just like I like the top of it with the handprints and stuff, but like just the front of it saying Death Stranding, I just like
it sucks. It sucks, and I'm to the point where like I think if I had not seen that E3 trailer that made me understand it and pre-order it, I would probably still get this system, just because A, I don't have a PS4 Pro. B, the game would come physical, and I could try it and turn it in if I didn't really like it. And yeah, so now I'm actually going to try that game, and I mean I already have a pre-order, but I'm going to try that game, and I don't know what I'm getting. I just don't like. There have been games that I've bought where I'm like, I don't know what this is going to be, but they were games like The Witness, where I knew it was a puzzle. I knew it was a puzzle game, but I didn't really know what the puzzle was, and that was what $40 as opposed to $60. So I'll play that game, I guess. But yeah, the game looks weird.
Yeah.
So
it's got some real production value behind it, though. I tell you. I mean, it doesn't matter what you think of, the game itself. Like that, you can't deny it's not a pretty looking game.
That's true. That's true.
Horizon was a pretty looking game too. So
right, and I mean, look, Hideo Kojima is he's made an impact on this industry that few others have. And I think it's cool that someone has been given money to make something a little weird. I mean, if we didn't without that happening, like we wouldn't have games like Nier Automata. We wouldn't have Swery as a game designer. Some of Suda51's better games wouldn't have come out. We need weird folks making games.
Well,
but also, I think that at some point someone's gonna go like, what did we pay money for?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear what he said? He said there's gonna have to be like 2 or 3 more games for them to be able to call the Strand game a genre.
Yes, and everything he described that genre already exists in other games. It's just like saying Quentin Tarantino doesn't take influence from anybody.
Yeah. Yep.
When all he does is rip off Scorsese. Anyway, you want to just go to questions?
I suppose, unless anybody else has anything else to talk about or say or do or.
Moose, anything? You good?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all right. I think we can move along.
We got everything, yeah.
All right, starting off with the man, the myth, the legend. He came up with some bangers this week.
That guy.
What do you think the charm is of Untitled Goose Game?
The goose.
Yeah.
Pretty much it.
I mean, well, I think it's
stuff.
I think it's a concept that everyone knows because or at least from my point of view, everyone knows, or at least in my purview, everyone knows. Geese are predominantly dicks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, they
true.
They get in the way. They crap everywhere.
They walk right out in the middle of the street when you're driving by.
And if you walk too close to them, they raise those wings and they don't give a fuck. They're just like, get the hell out my space.
They'll get you. They'll be like,
and I think it was, I don't remember who it was that said this, but like that's a pretty easy concept to sort of grasp. Just you're a goose being a dick. But also like I think that I don't remember if it was last show or the show before, but like when you take care in how you are making something or show it the slightest bit of reverence or even love, like that comes through in however way you want it to. And I think that House really took care in how they animated not just the goose, but the world around it. I mean, sure, this isn't, it doesn't look like Uncharted, but
yeah, but it doesn't really need to though.
But like the townspeople, are animated to the point where like their emotions in a situation come across just as much as the gooses do. And the goose is just inherently funny. Just the way it walks around, it looks it. I mean, it's not like like I said recently on the show. Like it's kind of like Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton walking around in the frame of a movie. Like you get it right away. I mean, the little touches they provide, like making the goose's tail waggle every so often, like it's a nice little realistic touch. And I also like that when the goose has something that someone else wants and that person comes to get it, like the goose doesn't shy away from it. The goose is like, oh, you're taking that radio out of my mouth? Oh, don't you worry, I'll be back. Like I'm coming for that radio, and that's like an unspoken thing that is like that doesn't happen unless someone is like showing the care for that detail.
Yeah.
So a lot of that comes through, and also the fact that so little of that game is wasted. Like, you could probably make the argument that moving from scenario to scenario is like seconds of wasted space, but hey, you have to get from point A to point B somehow.
True.
But yeah, like the goose being a dick is a pretty widely understood thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to say. I haven't played it, but memes sure are fun. So.
Oh yeah. The Darkwing Duck one is great.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty good. That's classic. As a big fan of Darkwing Duck, I approve.
Where it's carrying the Infinity Gauntlet and Thanos is running behind. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. This game is like 3 to 5 hours long. You could probably stretch it out to 10.
Really? It's that long?
Yeah, it's not. It's a short game.
Oh, I thought people were saying it was like 2 to 3 hours.
That's probably fair, but I'm thinking 3 to 5 because some of the puzzles I had some trouble with.
Huh. Kind of like how everybody told me Portal was a 2-hour game, and it took me like 5 or 6 to beat it.
Oh, dude, that game took me. The first Portal took me 10 hours to get through. I was a complete in the Portal.
Just based on that alone, I refuse to play Portal 2.
Oh man, now that you're missing out on. Portal 2's great. Portal 2 has some of the best co-op ever.
Yeah, but I feel like we had this discussion. I did not like Portal. Like, I just didn't like it.
All right then.
I know I'm in the minority, but I don't care.
If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. So let's move on. Why do you think Sony in particular creates such immersive single-player experiences? Why do you think they do this where Microsoft seems to lean more towards multiplayer-centric games?
I just think they're on different paths, right? Like, I think Sony likes to have like a quote-unquote prestigious library, and I think Microsoft wants to do that to an extent, but Sony's like Microsoft is playing catch up, right? To Sony in that department, at least. And like when you have Halo, Gears, and Forza as your 3 main pillars in Xbox, it's like, well, Halo's a first-person shooter. Of course, you're going to have multiplayer. Racing games, of course, you're going to have multiplayer. And Gears is like, but like honestly, Gears 5, I think, is the closest thing that Xbox has to what Sony's doing in terms of story. I truly believe that then, and this is the game that's going to, people are like the way that I think people point to Uncharted 2 for Sony. I think Gears 5 is going to be that game for Microsoft and be like, this is the game that started like a revolution in their single player campaigns.
Okay.
And,
hopefully.
And I really think that, and I don't think Halo Infinite's going to have the most amazing single player story because, well, they're going to try to make it a Destiny-like, I think, is the big rumor, and I don't know if that's what people want from Halo, but I think Sony, regardless of how you feel about each game individually, you can't say that they don't have a quality first-party library. The Last of Us, God of War, Horizon, Spider-Man. I think The Order is an interesting game to look at, even if it's not a great game per se. Infamous. They have a really interesting first-party portfolio, and I think Microsoft would really love to have something like that if they could, which is probably why they're buying up all these studios.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, go ahead, Moose.
I think the problem is for Microsoft is they've gotten away from the single player game because they want games as a service, and it's hard to make a single player game a game as a like microtransaction it to death. Like, I mean, a lot of companies are doing that now, and it's backlash. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, I was talking to Jeff the other night, and I was like, dude, like, what are your thoughts on going back to the Division 2? I was like, because I'm thinking of going back, getting the platinum, and just deleting that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like, it's a great game, but it's too long. Like, it's complete. Borderlands is perfect because I can step away from Borderlands, play other games, circle back to Borderlands, and pick it up. And it is exactly where it was when I left it. Nothing's changed. Maybe there's some DLC, whatnot, but it's not like you have to be continuously doing stuff in the game. You know, that's like how Diablo was. Remember how many times we would go back to Diablo and have a hell of a good time?
Mm-hmm.
And like Helldivers was the same way.
Yeah.
Like, it is contained in what the game is, and the gameplay makes you want to come back to it. Not like, oh, well, we promise you like year long, you know, like what they be, and it just gets to be a pain in the ass. So I think Microsoft has gotten away from that with their single player games because they find more money in microtransactions and doing, you know, like multiplayer games. Because, like you said, it sells their online service.
Yeah.
Whereas in Sony wasn't really strong with, you know, with PlayStation Network and
PlayStation Online was garbage for a long time.
Yeah,
let's be
I
real.
mean now it's decent.
Yeah, it's serviceable now.
And I feel, you know, like they had SOCOM, which was good. I mean, they had some good Really, the only multiplayer game they put out is MLB The Show. So, but I feel like they look at it like there's so many third-party games out there. They're like, we don't need to compete with that, like third-party multiplayer games. Like there's the Call of Duties, there's the Battlefield, the Borderlands, the Diablos. You know, like there's all that.
Everything Ubisoft will put out from here on out.
Yeah, let's let them make the games, and we'll just focus on our single-player stuff. Because there's a lot of people out there that still just want single player, you know, and like it just gets to the point. Like I was like watching some of the videos on like Ubisoft, and I'm just like and Breakpoint, and I'm just like I have no ambition. I have no interest in playing that game, and I probably have no interest in buying any games from Ubisoft for a long time, unless it's Far Cry. Because I will say, you know, New Dawn was a lot of fun. Building off of 5, which I played both of them earlier this year and platinum both of them, but it's just games as a service. It's like we can't, like I think Bungie, like I was talking to Alan about it because we were on the other night and he was playing Destiny 2 and he's like, yeah, I bought the expansion. He's like, you know, Bungie has come out and stated, you know, Activision wanted to chop everything up and held things back, and they wanted to do this, and so now it's like what we want to do with our game, and that's awesome for Bungie, and I'm hoping that they can turn Destiny 2 around and really put out what they want it to be, you know, and it's just like all these companies are like, oh, we're gonna make you pay $60 for our game, but then we're also gonna make you pay for microtransactions and DLC, and you need a season pass to even play past the first year. Yeah. And it's because they've gotten into this sick cycle of more. Like we have to keep making profits year over year. And how do we do that? And instead of just making games, it's like find ways to screw over the customer. And so, anyways, that's my rant. But I hope Microsoft gets in the first party. Like, I mean, they've got a lot of solid. They picked up a lot of solid developers. Is it Ninja Theory?
Theory, Obsidian.
So they've got Obsidian. They've got the guys that did Wasteland 1, 2, and now 3's coming out. So I mean, they've got them. I mean, they've got a bunch. And not that Halo isn't, you know, a single player game. It has a single player campaign because, you know, everybody loves the Halo story.
As far as I know, and I haven't played one in a while, like it's probably the one first person shooter that has a just as compelling of a campaign as it does multiplayer.
Yeah, so I feel like they have a good lineup. They've got good stuff in the pipeline to, like, you know, knock it out of the park. So hopefully they do, and hopefully Sony will take a step back and be like, you know, maybe we can. Well, I mean, there's the news about Last of Us 2, how there's no multiplayer, and people are all upset, and it's like, they're like, Naughty Dog was like, well, we wanted to focus on a single player story. This single player is so big that we felt we couldn't put out a good enough multiplayer and a good enough single player game. So we just focused on the single player. But then they also, on the same breath, they were like, but our multiplayer team was doing some really kick-ass stuff. And so we want to put that out there. I bet you if it has, even if it has, my thing is like, well, maybe down the line they'll be like, okay, well, here's the multiplayer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And even if they don't do that, Naughty Dog takes what they've done and be like, and I develop a new IP. Yeah. Here's something new we can do. You know what I mean?
I almost bet they'll release that as like a free-to-play thing.
They could probably do that too.
And, because there's all kinds of things that you could do to like smartly monetize that, with character skins or, you know, hats or whatever else people buy for their online characters. I don't know. I don't get into online games enough to do that. I'm still using the base skin in Apex Legends. So,
I mean, Last of Us, their multiplayer section was compelling. I mean, I think they were pretty early to the game where you didn't have to be leading in KD ratio to win the match. Like, they were pretty early to that idea. I don't think they were first, but that, or at least I'll say it this way. That's the first time I remember there being a way to finish first on the leaderboard, but not killing a single person. Because I did that several times, and I thought that was compelling. It kept. I mean, I went through and the multiplayer had its own story to it as well, but it wasn't super intricate like Last of Us's narrative was, but it had like this progression, I guess would probably be the more appropriate. And I did that twice. So yeah, I mean, their multiplayer was good. Hopefully it's similar this time if they add it. But like Moose said, I think that they could probably use that to spin off into a different game.
Yeah.
Frankly, because I think Naughty Dog needs to do a new IP. Not because I'm tired of Uncharted or Last of Us, but I think if they keep going back to these wells, they will run dry in ways that will hurt that studio. But like,
well, the rumor is that Sony Ben's next game is going to be Uncharted, and they're going to take over the franchise, and Naughty Dog will work on a new IP in The Last of Us.
Yeah, but I kind of think that they need to. I think honestly, I really wish that I still wish there wasn't a Last of Us 2. I like the idea of leaving that story as was.
Yeah, like I like that idea too, even though I didn't really play it, but like just everything. I mean, I know what happens in the story and everything, and like I like that idea of just like letting it hang there and let you use your imagination of like, well, I don't want to spoil it since it's the free game and some people might not have played it, but like, did that really mean what really just happened? Like, were you playing this character the whole time? Like, was this really the outcome? And it's like I like that idea, and like not exploring that idea, it's almost like something like The Road or something like that. I think Book of Eli did a good job of that too, where like they just kind of let it go and never did anything with a sequel.
Like there's a narrative idea, and I don't remember what it's called, but like I know a lot of great movies that use this where they'll bring a character on screen and that character will basically set off a compelling idea, but then just sort of walk away, and you're never really seeing it. A lot of folks have called that bad writing because they don't really finish the story, but they also miss the point, whereas that's not the point.
But then you get into thing where it's like you look at something like The Walking Dead, the show at least, and it's like it's gone on way too long, and you're writing yourself into like this. Oh well, we have to do this now because it's so popular, and it's like just let it go. Like there's shows like I think the like TV shows in particular that people hold in high regard are shows that end when they know it's time to end. Like, I think that's why a lot of people love Breaking Bad so much, is that it knew when to end, and it just ended, right?
Yeah.
Like, after, 5 seasons, they're like, okay, this is it, 5 seasons. I think, something that a lot of... Mad Men is a show that a lot of people love, but they are, like, in Dexter are 2 shows that, like, people love, but they're always like, it went on way too long. Like, that's the common thing you hear, is like, that show went on way too long. So,
yeah. Whereas certain shows that I wish would end are still going.
Yeah.
But getting back to it. I think.
What are we talking about now?
I think it's. I mean, it's an interesting thought to why Sony is doing single player stuff and Microsoft is doing multiplayer stuff. But I think because they set that both companies set that in motion early on in the Xbox PlayStation 2 life cycle, where Xbox 360 specifically hang on. Xbox Live was available on the original Xbox, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Late in the cycle.
And then PlayStation Online only happened with 3. Yes?
As far as I know, yes. But there's SOCOM, like the later games in the PS2 did have like an online presence.
Okay.
But it was like very stripped down.
Okay. So because and Microsoft Xbox Live in my memory, because I remember playing Halo 2, that was Xbox.
Yeah.
It was not 360.
Mm-mm.
And I remember playing that online with my roommate at the time. And I just remember just like I remember thinking to myself, like, this is the way games are going to be played now. Didn't really have much more thought to it than that. But you have to think that like Microsoft launched with that, and they launched with such a sleekly designed and easily intuitive platform that of course they were going to use the hell out of it. Mm-hmm. Whereas PlayStation 3, the first time I remember using an online platform for Sony, like, and I came late into the PS3's life cycle, it was still broken. Like, or not broken. It was broken is probably overstating it, but it was definitely a lot clunkier than the Microsoft. It was clunkier than Microsoft Blades. Like it was very, very hard to get used to. But like anything, growing pains alleviates that. And I think because Microsoft knew they had gold, like of course they're going to try and mine that gold as much as they can.
Yeah.
But they mined that at the expense of prestige single player content. I don't think it was a bad move personally. I mean, my gaming habits will tell you otherwise, but that's just because I am older and don't have a ton of tolerance for getting online with randos. But
oh, you mean you don't like it when 13-year-olds make fun of your mom while they're gunning you down? And no,
no, I really don't. I mean, for better or for worse, I do not. Huh?
I said I don't listen to him. Well, in the 360 days, when I used to play Battlefield and whatnot, I'd get into my own party and play.
Oh yeah,
so I wouldn't have to deal with them. And then when I moved to PS4, I didn't have to do that. And after a certain point, when the PS4 started doing really well, and the Xbox wasn't, that's when all those 13-year-olds started coming over.
Yeah.
Like instantly on the 360, as soon as you joined the game, it was like
set up a
dubstep,
party.
Some asshole playing dubstep through his microphone. It's like nobody wants to hear this. And then it was some kids just not even like talking about the game, just screaming at their moms or screaming at whatever. And it's just like
screaming at their buddies. Remember what happened at school? That was so funny.
And I'm just like, I'm muting you motherfuckers.
I do like on at least a lot of games on Xbox, like Halo and Gears, you could just, if you're in a multiplayer match, you can just hit the right stick and it mutes everybody.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, that's nice.
Yeah.
The PlayStation needs something like that. It got to the point where I eventually did have to start getting into parties on the PS4 just so I didn't have to listen to people. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway.
Okay, so moving on. Question 3 of Deshaun's 4.
Oh, jeez, we're still here.
How do you feel this generation has gone compared to others in terms of quality of games? How will this generation be remembered?
I think the rise of games as a service is going to be, this generation is going to be remembered for that.
The rise of console games as a service, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant. PC. What is this?
Exactly.
Got to download more RAM and update my drivers and buy the $3 million graphics card so I can replace it 6 months later. Ray tracing.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Games as a service on consoles are a real thing this gen.
Yeah.
More so than before.
I think they're going to get worse to a point where something's going to crash.
I mean, even single player games at this point are becoming games as a service. Look at Assassin's Creed Odyssey, right? Like that base game.
Don't like to grind? We'll cut it in half.
That game is 110 hours long, the base game, and then they added 2 major chunks of DLC that are just as long.
Yeah.
I mean, you can play that game forever and not beat it. Especially because it has its own quest creating system on it now, where you can go on the Assassin's Creed website and log in and make your own quests and complete with dialogue and boss fights and everything. It's really quite interesting what they did, but man, no offense. I love Assassin's Creed. I loved Origins, and I really liked what I played of Odyssey, but I played 75 hours of Odyssey, and I was literally only a third of the way through the game. Sorry, that's too long. That's way too long. And granted, I literally stopped at every single question mark in each area, but that's how they get you.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
That's how they get you.
Moose, any thoughts?
Nah, I agree with what y'all said.
Okay. Question 4 of 4 from Deshaun. Why does Corey in HD713 barely talk? It seems to be the Matt and Moose show. Corey.
I don't know. I feel like I talked a lot this episode.
I feel like you have too.
I mean, to be fair, you guys play similar games, and I'm not gonna interrupt you guys to talk about something else.
I'll be honest. I'm surprised you didn't start Destiny this week.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked you didn't.
I was going to, but I didn't get to play games on Friday night, and Saturday I told Jesse I would play Gears with him because I want to finish Gears before I start Destiny. And then Sunday I went to bed at 9:30. So
Fair.
I'm also trying to see what they're doing, because not only do they have an expansion, but they now have a battle pass.
Yeah.
A Fortnite Apex style battle pass, and there's 4 seasons, and each season is going to have its own battle pass. So I'm trying to figure out
what that all means.
Yeah. Plus every single person who's ever logged into Destiny 2 is now at light level 750, regardless of where you're at in the campaigns or the stories or what content you've completed and not. So there's that. Plus they added transmog finally, and I want to do my research on Destiny, because like I've been playing Destiny off and on for like the last couple months, but like not like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's so many changes that they made. I'm just like, I just want to pick up a gun and shoot someone. You know. So, you know, and so I am interested in what they're doing. It seems like they're slowly incorporating Destiny 1 stuff back into Destiny 2 to make it just like Destiny again. So we'll see. This expansion seems cool though, and I'm really excited to play the campaign at least. And a couple people I follow on Mixer and on Twitter have been playing the raid, and they said it's the best one since the Taken King, which has me excited. Although I probably won't get to play it because I don't have enough people to play with me. But you know.
Okay.
Sorry, that was my Destiny minute.
That's fine. We started it.
It's fair. You did. You did start it.
Yes. And you talked.
I did. Well, last week, like I just
you were still kind of working on the website too last week, right?
That too, but I was also really tired, and you guys were talking about Borderlands and a little bit of Remnant and some other games, and I just like haven't played. So like,
sure.
No offense, but why would I chime in on something that I haven't really played? You know.
Yeah, no,
and
fair.
Fair. I'm sure people are really tired of hearing me talk about Fire Emblem. So. By the way, 65 hours in, I'm still playing.
Just finish it already. Finish the fight.
But how will I know if Eldegard chooses me?
She's the worst one.
I know. I'm actually going after Dorothea. Don't tell her.
There you go. There you go, Corey. Hendrix Pasternak. Have you replayed any games this generation aside from the repeatable indies and Bloodborne? Are you planning on replaying anything in particular?
Yes, I have a whole list of games I'm going to replay or play in general. Topping that list is God of War and The Last of Us and the Gears series, because Gears 5 has really gotten me back into it. So replay games though.
I replayed Spider-Man for the New Game Plus trophy. That was fun. I've replayed Dark Souls 3 I don't know how many times. That came out this gen.
Yeah, I've done that.
I played the Destiny 2 campaign 6 times. Does that count?
That counts, yeah.
And then they implemented cross save, and I feel real sad.
I keep wanting to go back and play The Witness just so I can get accustomed to all the puzzles again and then try and do the final puzzle, but I don't think that'll ever happen. That's just going to be... That's like I need to take a week off from work and just focus on that. Let's see. I mean, I've played through. I guess with all the Hitman I've played through 2016 and last year's a couple of times.
Man, I love watching people play Hitman.
It's still fun.
I don't like playing Hitman, but man, I love watching people play Hitman. I've watched the Giant Bomb stuff.
Oh yeah, Hitsmith is great.
Oh, it's so good.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. What else? Would you consider how many times we played through a war in Helldivers, Moose?
Yeah.
I mean, because we've got through at least 7 of those.
A lot of that. Corey, did you do a new game in Breath of the Wild?
I started Master Mode, but then I stopped. And I don't want to start a new game because I have all the Korok seeds, and I don't want that to ever go away.
Yeah, sure.
I did think about it, though. I have been getting that itch to play that again. Just playing Link's Awakening, really makes me want to, I don't know.
Why don't you have a Japanese account?
I know.
Just buy a SIM card, store that save somewhere.
I do have, a secondary account on my Switch that says, second Corey account. And cool. That's probably where I'll
way to really hide that.
I know.
I labeled mine Japan Sven. Just because it's there for the or the Nintendo, the Japanese versions that they released. But anyways.
Oh, that was the other game I started playing. I've been playing A Link to the Past with Ed. It's all right. It's an okay game.
Link to the Past is pretty good.
It's all right.
I don't think there's a lot of games that I've gone back and played played through more than one time.
I mean, I struggle enough to play through a game once.
I think for everybody, that's the dilemma that we are in, because when we used to play games over and over again, it was because we weren't really adults at the time. Yeah. And so whatever we were playing was the game we had for a long time. So we had to play that game.
You know how long I played Tom Sawyer Island on NES?
A lot.
I don't
want
a long
time.
But anyway, so I feel that is the issue now. It's like we have access to so many games, and it's just like, I'd love to go back to that game, but there's this game now. Mm-hmm. So.
Amanda Holcomb is our final question. We're actually not going to answer it tonight because it'll take some discussion. But I want you both to think about it for next week's show. What is your Game of the Year episode going to look like this year? The last few years have been different, and was wondering if it will be a good long episode. Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work on the show.
Oh boy, Game of the Year.
Yeah.
We have until the second week of December. You know that, right?
Shut up, Ed.
We definitely had to the first week of January.
That's when. Well, I usually try and make sure my piece goes up in the first week of January for my favorites of the year, but we'll see. But yeah, that's something we need to think about. I pulled out all of the categories and stuff. We need to start having talks about that. I have mentioned to the Platinum guys that I would like to have them on as one of our community shows to talk to them about their games of the year. And yes, I know that includes you, Moose.
Who?
Exactly. Oh, Brian. I'm sorry. We got to get Brian in.
Special guest Brian from the community. Yeah. Hello, Brian.
I would like to do community shows again, like we did last year. That was really fun. I mean, it was really fun for me. I enjoyed it. So
I feel like Brian Cool sits back every night and watches I don't know, something on Netflix with a glass of milk.
No.
Anyway, we will have a better answer for this next week, Amanda. Thank you for writing in, though. If you want your questions answered, write us, nerdsgoneroguepodcast@gmail.com. I think we're going to call that episode 166, guys.
Aww.
This has been episode 166 of Nerds Gone Rogue. I'm Matthew Keel, and _rewind everywhere I choose to be, doing my best Micro Machines man impression. I think I'm the only one that gets that joke.
Nope. Will you read the thing at the end, really fast that you can't understand?
Yeah, okay.
I got it. I got you, Matt. I understand things sometimes.
Appreciate you.
Not all the time, but sometimes.
Yeah. Find me here. Find me on Facebook in the community. Facebook.com/groups/Nerds Gone Rogue community. Nerds Gone Rogue also has a Discord that I am in. Not as active as I should be, but I'm trying. Moose, how's the week off, buddy?
Good.
Cool.
What do you mean week off? What?
You didn't have an extra week or an extra day of podcasting last week.
Oh, yeah, it was nice.
Where can we find you, sir?
Sven. SVHENN, everywhere I want to be. That's pretty much it.
Cool.
Nice.
Corey.
Yeah.
Take us home.
You can find me at CoreyNHD713 on Twitter. You can find me at CoreyNHD on Instagram and Mixer. You can follow Nerds Gone Rogue on Twitter at Nerds Gone Rogue and join our Facebook. Like us on Facebook. Get those contest entries in. We have very few. Surprising, because Call of Duty seems like one of those big games that people would be trying to win. So, chop. You have a couple weeks left, though. No big deal. Yeah, you can watch us live every Monday night at 8:45-ish Eastern Time, or listen to us on Monday mornings in an all-edited podcast form, right? On Spotify and YouTube and all your favorite podcast apps. Rate us, review us, like us, all that stuff. Share it with your friends. Tell your friends about us. It'll be a good time. Most of the time, I think. Promise. It will not be a bad time. I can tell you that. So, whoa, music.
I don't know what the hell just happened on my phone.
I thought you were playing some really soft, nice outro music. So
I don't know what that was. Sorry.
But anyways, I want to thank everybody so much for watching, and until next time, we love you.
Banana and out. You're welcome.